Might be asking yourself, was it 3 o'clock last night in the video that I watched yesterday? And now it's 9:45 and Vicenta's been up since 9 o'clock. Yeah. The sound of coffee in the morning? Nah, the sound of exhaust. Borla. So, on my way to work, just got into it with my son's mom. That happens. It's just things that happen. I don't feel like it's anything that we can't fix. It's just that both of us have a strong mindset on what it is that we think is fair, and I luckily just fall back on the fact that when we were at the best, after we had already separated, when we were at our best, we sat down together and determined an agreement, and luckily that agreement is court binding. But if you weren't in that same situation as me, that you got that lucky, and I'm very grateful for you for being in a good place, but if you weren't that lucky, I think that the things that you really need to think about is what's best for your son or daughter, right? And I don't need to give you advice, and I know that maybe you might not give me advice unless you had experience. So my experience tells me that the only thing that court does is doctrine and agreement. If you allow the judge to decide for you, then he could only make the best determination based on the facts you're able to prove. And sometimes the facts that people are able to prove, I'm telling you, sometimes the facts that people are able to prove will benefit them more than the person that is actually the person putting in work when it comes to the parenting. In my circumstance, I don't have to worry about that. Both parents are putting in work. It's just that it's very, very difficult for me to travel when half of or part of her responsibility is to also travel. So I feel like I bred this problem upon, among myself, or son of a gun. Maybe I'm not supposed to talk about it, but it's the truth for me. So I made this problem by always ensuring that I was going to take Vicente, never having her to worry about it. Now when it comes time to the fact that it makes no logical sense for me to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, when I work 2 minutes away, that's what the problem is. And now we're trying to break that mold, or break that habit of always having to argue over something so stupid. Vicente's asleep. Let it be. Let me be. Let it all be. Musa. Let's go to work. Yo, what's up everybody? So I'm actually posted up, enjoying my lunch, parked myself by some palm trees in the shade. It is beautiful outside, and I have to be at work for another 5 hours, I think. 4 hours, 5 hours. On a good positive note, it has been jam-packed all day. With Easter right around the corner, I think that retail stores are getting slammed everywhere, except for the ones that just never do business. But we are just packed. It has not been a slow moment in my store all day. So some of the things that I've been trying to really focus on, because I have a lot of support in the store and a lot of strong support, like another assistant store manager and my store manager in the store, I've been really fixated on helping through hands-on direct impact. So meaning that I'm putting work in myself when things I wouldn't normally do, in order for people to really receive or be receptive to my belief system, and then also them being encouraged by my work ethic to perform as well. Because I feel that that is the hardest thing to find inside of stores or inside of businesses, inside of places, is enthusiastic, hard, self-driven people that will not give up, will not falter, that are always going to do their best and smile and work their way through.
every obstacle that is presented to them. So I've really been trying to do that today. I've been 4 hours strong of ensuring, well, I've actually been 5 hours strong of really driving my own succession planning or my own belief system throughout the store, making sure that I'm greeting, making sure that I'm pumped up, making sure that I'm enthusiastic, making sure that I'm action oriented, that I'm driving every program and every stage of the success that we've had, or the stages of the succession plan that we have for me. Excuse me, my coffee, this first thing that I've had today. It is important and vital that every single time that we have an opportunity, it is essential that every single time that we have an opportunity that we take our action very seriously, because I remember saying this whole past week that in these moments are going to be the test of whether we really are on program or we are with what we want to focus on, if that makes any sense. Are we really putting ourselves to the test? Are we really implementing all of the things that we think will work? Are we really doing it? And I remember saying, I was very specific that these next 2 weeks are gonna be the give and tell of everything. So let's go. We got this. Holy moly, I just had a crazy day. I barely got off of work. Let's go eat, please. I need to eat. Took a half-hour lunch, biggest mistake ever. And it always takes me like half an hour to leave. I can't even imagine how my training store manager was when it used to take him 3 hours to leave, because he goes and he's got a big heart for the people that work for him, because he'll ask every single person, is there anything that you need before I leave? Because he didn't want to have forgotten something that person needed. That's individual one-on-one time that he's giving to everybody. You got to admire that. So I kind of implemented that same thing. Luckily for me, people are just wanting to talk throughout the day and tell me things that they need direction on, and that's it. So we're flying out of this beast and I'm going home to Vicente. Let's go. I'm fucking exhausted. But at the end of the day, when it comes between my son's mother and I figuring stuff out, it feels like more times than not like we never talked at all to begin with. But it's alright. Fuck it. We all have our own agenda and our own thought process. We have our own thinking or interpretation. So you always have to sit there and give a chance to explain. Or be the bigger person and just say, alright, cool, let's figure it out again. It's not even worth it, you know? So, sorry I'm looking up there. I'm just exhausted.